How's it going, everybody? Chuck Holton here, coming to you from Panama City, Panama. It's been a couple days. Over the weekend, the IDF struck military targets that belong to Houthi terrorists in the capital city of Sana'a in Yemen. And they were very major strikes. As a matter of fact, I've got some video of it here. Let's hope this doesn't get me uh, demonetized or anything. But this is some of the strikes look like there in Yemen. Uh, Absolutely massive, massive fireballs uh, and mushroom clouds rising over Sana'a. Sana'a is a city of over 3 million people. And one of the main things they hit was the um, power station and the main power station, which put most everybody out of power in Yemen. I mean, if you're a terrorist, you don't get to have nice things. And I've been saying for a long time that they're going to have to strike more than just like military targets. They're going to have to try to strike at the heart of the support network for the Houthis. And that looks like that's what the IDF did. They sent more than 10 aircraft. They struck more than 50 targets. And I want to show you one of the targets that they struck, which is this palace here. This is the presidential palace in Sana'a. So that's what it looked like. That's the before, and then the after is right there. And that place is just up in flames. Unbelievable. As a matter of fact, if we go forward here a little bit, this right here, that's what's left of the presidential palace, I believe, right there. So very, very strong strikes on the Houthis. Couldn't happen to a nicer group of people. They struck a military site in the area around the presidential palace. They struck the presidential palace. They struck two power plants, a storage site for fuel, and all of these things were used to support Houthi military activity and their terrorism, their strikes against Israel. Now, just earlier in the weekend, the Houthis fired what is believed to be a cluster munition at Israel. And what we know about that so far is a ballistic missile that they believe was equipped with a cluster warhead. The problem is the Houthis are firing these against the Israeli populace. Now, fortunately for the Israelis, the Houthis are so bad at what they do because they're just a bunch of camel herders that the missile broke up before it actually got into. It looked like some various reporting whether or not it got into Israeli airspace, but it did not strike anything of value. And there's some reports that there were interception efforts that were successful, and some reports that the missile just blew up on its own before it was intercepted, and so it fell to earth and didn't hurt anybody, but certainly could have caused a lot of damage if it had landed. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu was in the sort of war room at Kiryat in Tel Aviv, where they direct all of these strikes with the leadership of the IDF and the defense minister and different people. And he gave a statement from there that I want to play for you. Now, I've translated this from Hebrew into English so you can understand it. But take a listen to what he had to say, because this is, he explains it very well.
The Air Force attacked strategic targets in Yemen again today, targeting the presidential palace in the heart of the capital Sana'a, the city's power station, and the fuel tanks that supply it. The Houthi terror regime is learning the hard way that it will pay, and is paying a very heavy price for its aggression against the state of Israel. I want to commend the Chief of Staff, the Air Force Commander, and our pilots for a perfect execution. All our planes have returned to our territory. Whoever attacks us, we attack them. Whoever plans to attack us, we attack them. I think the entire region is learning the strength and determination of the State of Israel.
The Israel Defense Forces have now destroyed the Houthi presidential palace in Yemen and attacked fuel depots and power stations. We continue to impose an aerial and naval blockade, targeting infrastructure use to promote Houthi terrorism. For every missile they launch towards Israel, the Houthis will pay with compound interest. Today we brought the Houthis a blow of darkness and gloom. Next will be a blow to the firstborns.
Okay, so this strike on the Houthis in Yemen is, the Houthis struck first, fired a cluster munition that at Israel, and Israel has made it clear, if you mess with us, you're going to pay with compound interest. I love how poetic. I think that was that the defense minister there. It was how he's saying, we paid them back with gloom and sadness and stuff like that. But this one actually hurt the Houthis. I've been quite a bit more critical of previous strikes on the Houthis because when the United States was doing it, we were striking empty warehouses and I mean, seriously, if the United States was serious about stopping the Houthis from their malevolent attacks, not just on the Israelis but on global shipping, why didn't we flatten that palace? Why didn't we flatten those power stations? The Israelis are starting to go a lot harder against the Houthis, and it's making the Houthis feel it now. How do we know? Because the Houthis are livid. The statements that they're putting out have been that this is interesting. That we believe that these last attacks on us were so effective because the United States was involved. And so if we determine that the United States was actually involved, we will be striking US targets. So now the Houthis are threatening the United States. To which I would say, bring it. If I was President Trump, I'd be like, bring it on, man. Now, it's very sad for the people of Yemen that they've had to deal with this for so long. You have these ideologically motivated rebels who have taken over the capital city. When they did so, they captured a tremendous amount of weaponry and they captured whole military bases and essentially picked up most of the Yemeni army, which was not super friendly to Israel to begin with, but the Houthis take it to a whole nother level. And when I say they captured the army, they just captured the generals and told the generals, like, you're going to fight for us or we're going to kill your family. And so what do you think they're going to do? The people of Yemen have been in the midst of a famine for many years. In Yemen, where there's an actual famine, they have had 377,000 people die of hunger, according to the most recent estimates. Now, that's over a period of years, almost a decade, but nevertheless, we're talking about 85,000 children have starved to death in Yemen. Why? Well, partially because they live in a giant dirt parking lot, so it's kind of hard to grow stuff, but mostly because the Houthis are doing exactly what Hamas is doing in Gaza. That's taking all their resources and putting them into trying to destroy Israel and disrupt global shipping rather than trying to take care of their people. So if you live in a place like that, my heart goes out to those people. I feel so sorry for the people of Yemen, these people that God loves as much as he loves you and me. But it's not Israel's fault. It's the Houthis' fault. And it's going to continue to be the Houthis' fault that the Yemenis now have no electricity, that they're going to have a hard time getting clean water, that food is going to become more and more scarce, because all you have to do is stop attacking Israel and start putting your time and energy into improving the country where you live, and things will get better. But if you can't bring yourself to do that because of the depths of the hatred that you have in your heart for Jews, then you can't have nice things. It's just the way it goes. And it's the same, it goes the same for the people in Gaza. So the the presidential palace in Sana'a was not just off sitting off by itself. Uh, it was actually located within a military base, from which the military forces of the Houthi terrorists were operating. And so Israel bombed it. Now, I personally am against destroying works of art. That palace, I think you could say, was in many ways a work of art. I mean, look at that; it's gorgeous. That's probably one of the only nice things that the Houthis have, or that the Yemenis ever had created. But if it's being used for military purposes, it becomes a legitimate military target. And so the Israelis blew it up. They will continue. Again, this just begs the question for me that there have been so many strikes on the Houthis going all the way back to the Saudis in the early 2000s, which had performed daily airstrikes against the Houthis. The Houthis have had airstrikes almost every day for the last 10 years or more. Why didn't that palace get destroyed before if it's being used, if it's on a military base and it's being used for military purposes? Uh, I mean, like I say, if there's an ancient site, a mosque, a church, statues, something like that, that is a thing of beauty, it's a work of art, it's a memorial or a monument or something like that, especially things that are ancient. Man, it just hurts my heart to see them getting blown up. I mean, the Houthis could probably double their tax revenue by just charging people to come in and see that presidential palace, but you know, not anymore. It's not there, and it's just really sad to see that sort of thing take place. I really hate it when they are forced to destroy the work of other men's hands. And war is a tremendously, profanely destructive and costly endeavor, but safety first, right? I mean, the Israelis have got to be concerned with the safety of their people. The strike on the power plants damaged the electrical supply, which some of which was being used for military purposes. Uh, it, it gives us proof about how the excuse me, the Houthi regime uses civilian infrastructure for military purposes. So they have no problem, just like Hamas, of operating from within civilian areas, using civilians as human shields. And when you do that, uh, it tremendously complicates the options that the Israelis would have to retaliate, but that's by design. The Houthis want it to be that way and have no problem putting people at risk to do so. Not to mention the people around the sites that they're using for military purposes. But the people that are being put at risk are basically everybody in Sana'a who now is going without power. I mean, there are people in Yemen who have medical needs that need electricity, need refrigeration, stuff like that, in order to survive. People on dialysis, people that are diabetic that need insulin that has to be refrigerated. And those things now are not going to be possible. So those people are going to die. And it's not Israel's fault, it's the Houthis' fault. You just have to maintain a clear focus on who is actually at fault here. Now, what could the Houthis do? Well, they could go after more shipping. They're already they've essentially shut down the that area there, the Bab al-Mandab Strait, which leads into the Red Sea. So that is costing Israel money because their port in Eilat is bankrupt and closed down now. And it is also, costing everybody money because of the additional cost involved of taking a ship around the Cape of Good Hope instead of going through there and going through the Suez Canal. It's costing Egypt a tremendous amount of money. And Egypt is really getting fed up with this. They're actually beefing up their military forces along the southern border of Gaza because they're just petrified, very afraid that Israel is going to open the Rafah crossings and allow the Palestinians in Gaza to cross into Egypt in order to go somewhere else. And Egypt is dead set. That is not going to happen. They are not going to allow that. All these Palestinians to come into their country, and you kind of have to ask why. Like, why would that be exactly? Thank you very much for watching the Hot Zone. I really appreciate all of you.